Okay, so now we're going to be doing problem structures and representing relationships. These types of problems are dealing with second grade because they're adding and subtracting with word problems that have unknowns. However, being able to identify the type of word problem would probably be in one of the upper elementary grades. So right now we're going to look at a joint problem. So William and Sally put 160 marbles into a jar. William put in 83 of the marbles. How many marbles did Sally put in? So we are joining two sets of marbles together, William and Sally's, to make 160 marbles. So this is a chart that we can look at to help us be able to solve our problem. This chart is also a great visual to be able to use with your students just so they can kind of get an outline of the problem and it'll really break it down for them. So first we're going to start off with our result. We know that in the end we end up with 160 marbles. That's our total. But how many do we start with? So right now we know that William put in 83 of the marbles. So originally we had 83 marbles out of the 160 in there. So we need to figure out how many Sally put in. How many marbles did she put in to make 160 the total? So this is the chart that we can use, and we're just going to set it off to the side right now. And we can reference it when we need to, but it's a great way just to break the problem down and get a visual going. Okay, so now we're going to be doing strip diagrams. And this is also a great visual for your students just to be able to see the problem in a different way. So first we're going to draw this, and we're going to have this represent the result of 160 marbles. So we're going to write 160 on top of the total. So we know that William put 83 of the marbles into the jar. So we're going to draw this right now to represent William's marbles that he contributed to the jar. So we need to figure out how many marbles that Sally puts in are going to make up the 160 total that we have. So we're going to draw this box right here, and this is what we need to figure out. So we need to be able to write an equation to help us figure out exactly how many marbles Sally put in. So we can start off by looking at 160 equals 83 plus what? This can also be written as 83 plus what equals 160. So remember that this is a joined problem, so we are physically bringing two things together to equal one. So in this case, we're bringing 83 marbles plus another set of marbles together to equal 160. A way to write this problem a little differently would be to do 160 minus 83 equals what? So we have the total minus the marbles William put in equals, we don't know yet, but how many marbles Sally put in. So now it's time to solve this equation. So we're going to do 160 minus 83. So this is our equation that we need to solve. And as you can see, we got it from here. So we cannot do 0 minus 3, so we're going to go ahead and borrow. Make that a 5, 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. 5 minus 8, we can't do that, so we're going to borrow again. That becomes a 0, and we have 15 minus 8. We know that 15 minus 8 is 7. So our total is 77. So we know now that Sally put in 77 marbles. So, and we can also check this by plugging in 77 here and here. So we can see that 160 equals 83 plus 77, and we can line it up over here just to be sure. This is easier to see it that way. 7 plus 3 is 10, carry the 1. 8 plus 1 is 9, plus 7 is 16. So we have 160. So this checks out. So to answer our question, we know that Sally put in 77 marbles. So that completes the first join question. And like I said, this diagram is just a great way to give students a visual, as well as this chart, just so it's all laid out and it's easy to understand and easy to see. By creating problems different ways, that also gives students just a way to see the problem differently. Some may be able to understand it better, like in the blue here. Some may be able to understand it better as a subtraction problem. So giving them the options, the different types of way it's set up can really benefit all the students in the class. So now we're going to be looking at a comparison problem. Just give me a second so I can write the problem and get everything all set up for this one. So our next problem is going to be Skyla has 10 dolls. She has 2 more than Emma. How many dolls does Emma have? Okay, so like I said, this is going to be a comparison problem because we can see that we're comparing how many dolls Skyla has compared to how many dolls Emma has. So we're comparing 2 quantities to each other. So now we're going to take a look at the compare chart that we use. And like the join chart, this is also just a great visual for the students. It really breaks the problem up so that they can see the parts of the problem. Makes it easier to solve this way. So we know that our large set, so how many total do we have? We have 10 dolls total, or that's what Skyla has. So then our small set, we know that Skyla has 2 more dolls than Emma. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 right here. And then we're looking for the difference. How many dolls does Emma have? So now we're going to go back to our strip diagram, and we're going to look at it this way. So this is representing the dolls that Skyla has, which is 10. We need to see how many Emma has. So we know that Skyla has 2 more dolls than Emma has. So we're going to put 2 right here. And we need to figure out this number. How many does Emma have? Another way to draw this is to do this. This is the 10. And we have 2. 2 more than Emma. Now we need to figure out what this number is. How many does Emma have? How many dolls does she have? So now we need to be able to create an equation for this. So we can do 10 dolls, and then she has 2 more than Emma, minus 2 equals how many total dolls does Emma have. We can also do what number plus 2 equals the 10 dolls. Oh wait, didn't mean to draw that line. So this way we can figure out what number plus 2 would equal Skyla's dolls. So when we look at this chart, or these diagrams, we need to figure out exactly excuse me, how many dolls Emma has. So we can go ahead and set this problem up like this. 10 minus 2. We know we can't subtract 0 from 2, so we're going to go borrow. So 10 minus 2 is 8. So Emma has 8 dolls. And that makes sense because it says that Skyla has 2 more than her. So when we check it right here, this is the number of dolls that Emma has. So we plug in 8.